Hey there, thank you so much for listening to Something Super Spiritual. My name is Jeffrey Peck, and I am a psychic medium. If you are seeking conversation with loved ones on the other side, or discussion about spirituality, life after life, and anything in between, join me as we discuss all things spirit. We are collectively experiencing a spiritual awakening right now and recognizing that we are much, much more than we once believed. We don't die, and life doesn't end. We are eternal spiritual beings living in this crazy 3D virtual world of existence. Let's talk about it.
Hi, Jeff.
Oh, there you are. Hi there.
How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I am well. Thank you for asking.
Well, welcome to Something Super Spiritual for the second time. You're my first return guest.
Yay. Thank you for having me. Again, I always say this, it's an honor and it's a blessing. It truly is.
Oh, you're amazing. Thank you.
Well, you're more amazing.
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but no, you're amazing. Wow. Okay. So I feel like that there's so many directions that we can go with this.
Yeah.
Especially being in the midst of the holidays.
Yes.
Thanksgiving being last week, Christmas 4 weeks from now. And I was thinking earlier, so many of us are in the midst of that first year out after we've lost somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the hardest year. And I was thinking about it, whether we lose somebody who passes on, or maybe we lost somebody through a breakup or a divorce or um, whatever else, it's all very similar. It's all very similar. And the grief that we feel when a relationship ends, or when it feels like it ends because they've passed on, going through that entire first year without them, the holidays, the first birthdays, the first, vacation, family reunion. So here we are at the holidays that are sometimes so difficult for people. What do you think?
You know what? I have to agree too. Yeah, I just did a reading last night, and the first year, from what I find from people, the first year people are just coasting through. They're on autopilot, literally. And
Yeah.
it's really the second, the third, and the fourth and the fifth year. I mean, it's like that feeling, the grief, the feeling of emptiness that they're not here physically here with us. And there's no right or wrong way to grieve, Jeff.
No.
There's, people were telling her, and she's like, Teresa, people are telling me that it's not time for me to move on yet. It's not time for me to go find my partner. And I say, you know what? It's not their journey. It's your journey. And you'll know when you're ready, when you are ready, not when everybody else is ready, but when you're ready.
Yes.
And
It's
it's
true.
difficult. It's difficult. You're in, she's like, I'm tired of being alone. I'm tired of being by myself. And I said, you'll know when you're ready. If you're ready, you do you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Always.
Yeah.
How long had it been?
Just over a year.
Oh, so just really
Yeah,
fresh.
it's
Yeah.
just been just over a year, about a year and a half. But again, there's no right or wrong way.
There isn't. There really isn't. And here's the thing. We've been told time after time after time within readings, as we do these readings for people, they want us to be happy. So
Yes.
they're not watching us with jealousy, or that, oh, with somebody else, or we're meeting, no, no, no. They are fully on board with whatever we need to live how we need to live, with that
Yes.
happiness and that true joy. So, they don't want to see us sad. They understand why we're sad because they lived it. They were here. They get it. And they're all that support from the other side for us.
They do. They support, and you're absolutely right, 100%. They want us happy. And I can't tell you how many times I've done readings. I've actually never had a loved one come through and go, "Oh my gosh, I miss you." You know, um,
Right.
it's never like that because they are still with us.
Yes.
And they know the best of us too.
Yes,
And
it's
I
very
know,
true.
and I said that, I've said this before, it feels like they left the room, but they have not left the room.
Absolutely. If anything, they've become closer because they know us more fully in the state that they're in the place that they're in,
Yes.
than we could even possibly begin to wrap our brains around in this physical brain, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's, yeah. So I
It,
find it so comforting when people are in the thick of the agony of missing their person, and the whys, that are, you don't get answers to.
right.
On the other side, they're with us. They're with us with their arm around us. And they're also, as you know, trying to get our attention with little nudges, little
Mhm.
nudges, little signs, little messages, whether it be through electricity or birds or butterflies or coins or whatever, Um, what can you tell people about those messages that come from spirit that you've recognized within your readings?
Yeah, so it goes both ways with that. Some people are like, "Oh my gosh, I got sign after sign after sign. I know I'm good. I know they're with me. I know they're around me." And then others like, "I'm not feeling anything. I'm not hearing anything. I feel nothing." And again, that certainly does not mean that they're not with you and around you. And sometimes we have our own blinders on, and that we're so much in grief, and it's okay to be there. We want you, you have to go through it. You have to feel it to heal it. We don't want to be so busy and distractions that we're not able to sit with our pain and be able to feel it. But and you could be both. You could grieve and you could still be happy. You could hold both, have moments of both.
100%.
But as far as spirit coming through, and even myself included, I mean, I'm a medium and I do this every single day. And I ask, okay, Dad, I need a sign. Where are you? Even though I logically know that he's here with me and around me, I
Mm-hmm.
also like, where are you? I need a sign.
Yeah,
I'm not feeling you. I'm not sensing you the way I want to feel you and sense you. But you know what? I say it's spirit's time.
it's true.
It's spirit time. But they are with us and around us. And do they give us signs? Do they inspire us? You absolutely. And it can be so subtle that we may be even missing it, myself included.
Completely. It's really true. For instance, like you could be in the car running errands, whatever, driving, and you might get this little urge to change the radio station. And suddenly there's this song that happened to be your song or a really big song that you both loved, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and in that moment, you might have been wrapped up with work, thinking about whatever happened at work that day, or something with your boss, or something with the client that was supposed to happen that didn't happen, or just completely wrapped up in the minutia of life.
Right.
And there was that little nudge that you subconsciously felt. Turn the station to, and it's just I say this because it's just another thing for, as you said, you miss them, I miss them. It's just a little reminder for all of us to really be present in the moment as best as we can, even when we're by ourselves, because
Right.
that's when spirit is like, boop.
Right. And I do want to touch on that because there's some stigma around. I don't ever call it death or dying because to me there's no death. It's
Right.
just it's transition. And there's some stigma around this as far as you have to we have to understand that it's a celebration of life for them. They left here the physical body, and whatever way the soul chooses to leave and depart this physical world,
Yeah.
that's the soul's journey, that's their purpose. um they are good, we're not. So what can we do? What steps? Because people are like, why this, why that, and those may never be answered. But what can we do for ourselves and for our loved ones in spirit to honor them? What would make us feel better? Whether it's writing a letter or planting something, or writing a letter and planting that with a plant or a tree. You know what? Those ways to honor them. They know this. They see this.
They are not missing out.
They are no, they're not. It's the exact opposite. They are so with us and so around us, and they're like, and I tell people, they know everything. They know our thoughts. Our thoughts are energy, and they know exactly what we're thinking. And when I say that, there are people like, oh my gosh, they know our thoughts. Yes, they know our thoughts, but there's no judgment.
No,
There's absolutely 100% no judgment, because the spirit side of life is pure love, and that's the highest vibration, is love, unconditional love.
completely. Say more about that.
Say more about that
Yeah.
unconditional love. Well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it is. And I tell people, it doesn't matter how you get to the other side, we all go to the same place we came from, and that's a place of love. It's unconditional love, it's bliss, and they are good. And sometimes we get stuck because we're human, and good to know we're human, but also on spirituality and spirit side, it's there is no judgment. You could It doesn't matter what we do here. People, we sometimes don't understand. Are like, oh my gosh. So I'll give you an example. I did a reading, and the mom and dad were actually coming through together, and actually they were divorced here in this life. And my client was like, oh my God, they're together. And I'm like, you bet they're
Yeah,
together, because we don't know on a soul level their journey and what they needed to bring in this an earth life, human
completely.
form,
Yep.
of what, I don't want to say lessons, but teaching us to grow and be better and
Mhm.
better as a human and as a soul. We don't know that.
Right.
On the spirit side of life, they know everything. Everything, we're all connected, and everything has a reason and purpose of why people come into your life, either for a season, reason, or a lifetime.
Completely. And that being said, the unconditional aspect, I think, is just really hard for us as human beings to wrap our brains around the true meaning of unconditional, because we live so conditioned, from the minute we come out of the womb. It's either by society or religion, or the schools that we go to, or the culture that we're in, or the race that we are in. You know what I mean? We're just so subconsciously conditioned, imprinted by what our parents lived with when they were children, and it just from generation to generation to generation. So the true meaning of unconditional, the closest thing, like for me personally, the closest thing I can really like relate it to would be our pets, our dogs, our cats, our horses, whatever we are, just they are unconditional. They are just totally here in the moment. And it doesn't matter what happened, or what, maybe you lost a house and you had to downsize to something without a yard. They don't care. They're with you. That they're totally fine as long as they're with you. And so that, to me, that's where I learn my unconditional from my pets. you know
Right. And you know what? Sometimes I think we're our own biggest enemy. And what I mean by that is we wait for something outside of us. We're waiting for until we get the perfect job. We're waiting to lose weight. We're waiting to be a better person to get in a relationship. We're waiting for this, waiting for that. And let me tell you, Jeff, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, months turn into years. And it's the exact opposite. You
oh,
have to be happy, and then those things will come to you. If you wait and wait and wait, life will pass you by. You're missing precious moments, and life is so utterly beautiful. There's so much to be thankful for in life.
you said a mouthful.
I did. And you know what? You go outside, and to me, when you go outside and you look at that sunset or you look at that sunrise, that's unconditional love. You watch that plant growing, you watch that tree, that those leaves falling off the tree. That to me is unconditional love. It is perfection.
Completely. I just got chilly bumps when you're saying that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it can be hard. It can be really, really hard when we are in the throes of grief,
Yes.
or in the throes of fear. Like, let's say we just, went through a horrendous divorce and don't have a job, or we're in the midst of a career change, or what, all of this fear. Where's the money coming from? What's next? How am I going to put food on the table? Um, it's very easy to forget how simple It can be to just shift your perception just
Yes.
by focusing on the thank you for that flower on my table from my neighbor.
Yes.
You know, thank you for that sunset that I just happened to notice in the through the flurry of my tears as I'm driving across the bridge.
Yeah.
And it's true. You know, I had one of my shows. I'm doing a near death experience pod series, and within this show, and one of the first people that I interviewed told me her experience with her near death experience, and she was shown on the other side how maybe not simple this is, but to focus on the gratitude, to focus on the positive, to notice what you're thankful for. And
Mhm.
it's something that she had never done her entire life. She recognized through this near death experience that she perceived herself as a victim her entire life. So
Mhm.
she was, really unhappy and just like a pinball in a chaotic pinball game, kind of just going bouncing all over the place, reactive.
Mhm.
And she came out of this and really learned what she learned from this near death experience, and she grabbed herself a journal, and she made a decision that she was going to start writing down things that she was grateful for, and she had
Mhm.
no idea at first. She didn't know. And so she's thinking, okay, well, what's not negative? She's like, well, purple's not negative. Purple's pretty. Okay, purple. I'm grateful for purple, and it starts out that easy.
It
That
is.
that's simple.
That's how we create our life. We
Mm.
are the creators. We have all the power. Everything is within us. And through appreciation and gratitude, you could completely change your life. Um, again, but it's okay to grieve.
Absolutely.
And it's okay to be happy, and it's okay to fall back, it's okay to move forward, it's okay to have both, Jeff. But we create our reality, and we have a choice. And even sometimes when we don't make a choice, we're making a choice.
Oh, there's a choice in not making a choice.
That's exactly what I'm saying. There's
It-
When you don't choose, when you do nothing, you're making a choice. It's a choice
no,
to do nothing.
it's absolutely true. And it reminds me of now, and I say this because 3 years ago, I went through my own divorce and separation, and it was torture. It was torture.
Mhm.
And one thing I learned through that period was no response is a response. And I was like, oh, right. So what you just said, not making a choice is a choice. And that's okay.
Right.
That's totally okay. If that's what you need to do in that moment, if you need to lay on the couch all day long,
That's
it's
Do
totally
it.
okay. Mhm.
It's totally okay. Is Do it. We just don't want to get stuck there, Jeff. We don't want to get
Exactly.
stuck in that. You want to get back up. Get up.
Yeah.
You fall down, you get up, right?
Yep.
Get up. Get up. We don't want to get stuck there.
So with respect to the holidays that we're in the middle of, and talking about gratitude and grief and making a choice. So often in our readings, we come across the message of, I'm here. I'm with you at Christmas. I'm with you at the Thanksgiving dinner, and set a table for me. Set a chair, a space for me at the table, or whatever. And they then follow up with current events that they're witnessing as these are happening in real time, right? So what do you have to say about that aspect with spirit pointing out the current events within our readings, that they are with us in this Christmas period, holiday period, I should say, in ways that can bring a little bit more less burden, less weight on someone's shoulders? Do you understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And spirit does come through. And the way I read, I'm known for random and quirky things, and I love those things because either it's a shared memory or it's a current event. It's sometimes we have to do our part as a human too, as well. And sometimes I feel like, we put so much on spirit, and spirit coming. I mean, they could be giving you this, and this information, but if somebody's not open or receptive, or they're just not ready yet, it's going to land differently with them. They're not open enough, and it's okay.
Mhm.
It's just going to hit them differently. It's going to land differently with them, versus to somebody that's ready and open and go, okay, I know there's life after life. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Mhm. It's true.
And
Oh.
I feel like there's a lot of fear around this, around like death and spirits and that, and it's none of that. And that's another reason why I love to do what I do, because I want to demystify this. That we're all able. You don't need a medium to connect with your loved ones. You don't need you or myself.
Mhm.
We all have the ability to connect. Talk to them. They hear you. They know your heart. They know your thoughts. They're with you. They're around you.
Oh, it's so true. And I say that too. I tell people, you absolutely do not need a medium to connect.
Hmm.
And I saw a friend of mine. Do you know Brian Bowles?
I don't.
Brian Bowles is beautiful, beautiful man, an amazing medium, an amazing teacher. And I watched a reading he was doing on YouTube the other day. And it was so beautiful because the gal he was reading at the end asked him, "So she's okay, right? She's okay?"
Hmm.
You and I and Brian and other mediums, we know the answer to that. And he said, "I can tell you that she's okay." But he said, "I want you to hear it." So he said, she's going to show you that she's okay. And he said, "I want you to close your eyes and just take a deep breath. I want you to put your hand on your heart and I want you
Hmm.
to think about her and ask her if she's okay." Oh God, it makes me emotional. And
Yeah.
and she just started to well up and she started to cry and she started to feel it. And it was so beautiful
Hmm.
to watch that energetically happening within her and around her. Her aura completely changing, lighting up as the blend was happening.
That's
And
amazing.
and so having watched that, I know I was supposed to see that because it's something it's how I will move forward. When people ask me, this is how I will move forward with how I respond. And it was just we don't need they don't need mediums. They can just do what exactly that girl did and just quiet their minds, put their hand on their heart,
Hmm.
think about them, ask them to show them, and they'll feel this. I was going to say pressure. Sometimes it feels like a pressure. Sometimes it feels like a warm. How do you describe it? It's different for all of us. Sometimes it feels
It,
like chili bumps or electric, or sometimes our hair stands up on the back of our neck or your chili bumps. And I don't know. What do you say?
I like it to call it's like an energetic hug.
Yes, absolutely. It is.
It's one of those. It's so profound. You can't describe it. You can't name it. It's a feeling and a knowing that it's just it's inside out. It's
Absolutely. And like Brian said, now nobody can take that away from you.
nope.
You felt that in a way that you felt that,
Mm,
and nobody can take that away from you.
it's your experience.
And it's beautiful.
It is beautiful, and that is the number one question. I know. I get. Are they okay? Are they okay? And yes, they're okay. And here's the evidence. Here's the validation. They're
Yeah.
coming through. They are okay. They are. We're not.
Mhm.
So what are you gonna do? What are we gonna do to honor ourselves? Because it really comes down to self-love. And because I know there's people that hold that guilt, that shame, or blaming themselves, this and that.
Oh my
And
gosh.
spirit wants us to hold none of that.
None of
It's
that.
not us, it's not for us to hold. It's not ours. They don't want that for us.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And along with that guilt and shame and blame, regardless of where it stems from, that is another big aspect within many readings. They'll come through, for instance, like let's say our sitter didn't make it to the hospital in time
Mm-hmm.
and has been living with that guilt and shame and sadness ever since. It just
Mm-hmm.
weighing on them, and they just feel so terrible inside
Mm-hmm.
and apologize. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. I mean, pretty
Let,
much.
let, yeah, I'm gonna share my own personal experience with that.
Oh, please do. Yes.
Um, so as most people know, I was a firefighter, career firefighter. I was injured, I had to retire. And then 2 months later, my dad passed. So I've seen a lot of stuff in my life. I've seen some things you just can't unsee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But when it come to my father, this is even difficult for me to speak about, but um I couldn't even be there for him. I could be there for all of these other people and through tragedy and through trauma and all of this, but I could not be there for my own father. I couldn't be there when he was passing. So it took there's a lot of shaming and there's a lot of guilt there because I just couldn't do it. I could not be there for him. I could not see him that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my father. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I could do all this for all these strangers, but I can't be there for my own dad. So it took me a while. It took me a long time so I understand the guilt. I understand the shaming yourself and the blaming yourself. I should have did this. I should have did this. They don't want that for us. They don't. They want us happy and they know our heart.
Thank you for sharing that. That's powerful. And it's true. That's exactly where I was going, is in the readings they come through and they say, please let that go. Let it go. Let that burden go. Because here's the thing, energetically, we're there with them. Energetically, our heart is with them, even though we're physically not. We want to be, whether why we're there is irrelevant, but we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Why we're not, it doesn't matter. Our heart is with them. It's like when we tell our friends, I wish I could be there with you, but I'm there with you in spirit. It's the same thing. It's exactly the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. We are
I'm
there
there.
with you.
Yep, I'm there, and I'm there energetically with you. I'm holding space for you.
100%. So they know that we are with them in those moments when we physically can't be. And it's a beautiful message to have them from the other side say, please let that go.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be happy. I want you to let this go. And I want you to be free from those chains.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to have told your own story. Thank you. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and I know I'm not the only one.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm not the only one that's not able to witness that, to be there. I couldn't do it, Jeff. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't see my dad that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how I want to remember him.
Yeah.
But he knows my heart.
Mm-hmm. Completely. 100%.
Yep. It took me a minute. It took me a hot second to get over, not
Oh.
only to get over, but to work through the guilt, the
Mm-hmm.
shaming, and I mean, like, oh my gosh, Teresa, you're a firefighter. You see all this stuff. You help strangers, and you can't be there for your own father. Those are the things I was going, with myself. But you know what? I think those experiences, Jeff, make us understand other people's circumstances, understand where they're coming from,
Completely.
to be truly empathetic.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, as you were saying that, I was just thinking about my own experience with my grandmother. And I wasn't there when she passed either, but I was there for all the important times leading up to it, and I felt bad. And my mom kept reminding me, don't feel bad. You were here when it was important. And I understand I actually completely forgot all about that until we're just talking about this right now.
Hmm.
Because then, because you said it helps us relate to those who have that same experience. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, we may know something logically, but until you experience something, until you go through it, you just don't know what people are going through. That's why I always err on the side of try to be kind to,
Mhm.
to the best that we can, but we are human too. But we just don't know what people are going through.
We don't. And that's where I truly believe that this layer, this massive wave of grace
Yes.
flows to just hold that space and
Yes.
allow them to be where they are.
Mhm. I love that grace. That's that's powerful. That word
That's
is
it.
very unconditional love and
That's
powerful.
it.
Grace.
That's the key.
Yeah, it's the spirit side of life is truly amazing. And there's every reading that I do or group events that I do, they're all treasured, they're all unique, they're all different, they're amazing. And how they come through, from the heavy stuff, the hard stuff, to the funny stuff, to the lighthearted, it's the balance of both,
Yeah.
because they want us happy. They
Yes.
truly want us happy. And so, my question is to the audience is, what are you going to do today to make yourself happy? What are you what have you given up, or what have you put a hold on or put on the back burner, for yourself, that you're not doing anymore? Start doing those things that you love to do.
Just little by little.
Literally one foot in front of the other.
Hmm.
That's how we honor them. We honor them by living. And how do we live? However that looks for us and however that feels for us. What makes us happy? What makes you happy as a person? Not what everybody else thinks. Not even what spirit thinks.
Yeah. As you're saying this, I had a lady in front of me once who we were having a similar conversation about being happy. They want us to be happy.
Mhm.
And she was in that phase of grief where you're afraid to be happy without them, where you're afraid to
Mhm.
smile without them. Like, because in that moment, a part of you feels like you might be forgetting that they're not here, or forgetting about them, or feeling guilty that you're smiling and feeling happy without them. And I appreciated that conversation because it just relates so deeply with this conversation, where they're on the other side and they want that more than anything, for us to smile
Yes.
without them. Because here's the deal, they're with us and smiling with us in the moment anyway. So
Yes.
so we're not without them.
And you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. So why not be happy?
Yeah.
They're with us. They're with us. They have not left the room. I know it feels like they left the room. I do. I get it. I feel it. I've been through it. And I have my moments. But do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
They're right there with you, inspiring us.
So for those that are in the midst of this, as we are talking about taking baby steps, um, making different choices that are in the direction of happiness and joy. And it's the holidays. Some people are just
Yes.
stuck. And for those who are stuck, I mean, that truly feel there are no other options because I'm so stuck, what do we do?
That's a great question, because I myself was in that spot too. And there's nobody outside of you that could tell you, oh my gosh, you need to do this, this, and this. It has to come from within you. And the only way to get through it, you have to sit in it. You have to sit in it. Okay, you know what? You're feeling stuck. Take a moment, take a pause. Okay, I'm feeling stuck. Universe, God, love, whatever you want to call it. What is my next right move? What is my next step? Show me the way. Please guide me. And thank you for guiding me. And even if you have to do that multiple times a day, the veil will start lifting, that heaviness will start lifting. But we have to start asking those hard questions.
Yeah.
We have to be real with ourselves. This is what I'm going through. This is what I'm feeling. You have to honor those. You have to honor it. It's grief.
Mm-hmm.
There's hope.
There is hope. There's light coming in every direction when we feel like we're in that darkness.
And you know what? Sometimes we feel like we're so broken and we're so stuck that we don't even know what to do, which direction to go, who to believe, who to follow, because we have all this outside stuff coming in. Be still, be with yourself. Take those moments, even if it's like I said, multiple times a day. What is my next right move?
Yeah.
Because everything's always in the now, now, now. It's not in the past. It's not in the future. It's in this moment. It's in the now.
That's the truth.
It is.
That is the truth. So in that moment of now, as I tell my people, they want to be included. So include them. Include them in on the conversations, in the hard conversations, even the conversations you're having with yourself and you're mired in this grief. Include them.
Yes.
And include them in the holidays, their birthdays.
I always ask myself, this is the number one question I ask myself. It doesn't matter what I'm going through or what's going on in my life. If you take anything away from this conversation, this question I always ask myself is, what would love do now?
Oh,
What would love do now?
that's beautiful. And that's powerful.
It is. And it's you holding your power, just taking your power back. When I say power, it's love. It's love.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine the world if we all stopped and asked that question? What would love do now?
Ooh. Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, it'd be a lot different.
It would be. But you know what? And it's okay if it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything's as it should be and everything's always working out.
And I think that as things are the way they are, the more and more people that hear that and start to apply that, maybe I should ask that right now. Or I'm having a really bad day. Oh, maybe I should ask that right now. Or, oh, I hate the politics and this and that and this, and maybe I should ask that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if more and more people ask that right now, as that much more light is just flowing all over this planet.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it begins with me. It begins with you. It begins with whomever asks that question.
We get Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror. That's what it begins with. Or Woman in the Mirror.
Right?
Oh,
Whatever you
wow.
wanted it to be, Jeff, right? It could be anything you want it to be.
100%.
There's no right or wrong way.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, this is a deep conversation we've been
It
having.
is a deep, it is a
Wow.
deep conversation. What happened?
Oh,
We'll go
my
into a deeper
goodness.
conversation in the next podcast.
So, how do we lighten this up? Let's lighten this up for the holidays as we wrap this up.
You know, I think that is pretty light, asking that question. And that I think that's perfect for the holidays.
I agree. I mean,
What
totally.
what would love do now?
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what situation you're in, what's going on in your life, stress, job, kids, family, husband, wife. What would love do now?
Mhm.
It takes the ego out of everything.
It certainly changes your choices.
It does, because we all have a choice.
Mhm.
And again, there's no right or wrong,
Mhm.
because we're growing, learning, and evolving.
Every moment of every day.
You bet. You bet. I know I've made my own mistakes. I continue to make mistakes. I'm human too. But I'll at least try to be better than I used to be.
Yeah, yeah. That's the goal.
At least the day before.
Exactly.
Or the moment before.
Oh, totally. So, okay, tell people what you have coming up, what you got going on. You've got some shows coming up, you've got some events happening. Do you have any planned in January and February yet that you could?
I do. So all my events are on my website at firehousemedium.com. Going to Illinois and then heading over to another local event here in Valparaiso, Indiana, and then heading to Iowa in February. Believe the end of January I'm going to Lafayette, Indiana. So all that event stuff is on my website. And then I also go live every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central Time, and do live free readings. They're free. You guys come on live.
Oh, you guys, they're amazing too. They are amazing. They're so much fun to watch.
Thank you.
You get like 375 people, and how you manage, I haven't gone there yet, but how you manage that, I'm watching you. I'm watching every second, and I'm watching how you're maintaining your contact. You're maintaining that link while you're connecting or trying to connect with somebody on your phone or on the chat or what. It's just amazing to me.
Yeah,
You
talk
guys,
about that's like super duper deluxe multitasking.
oh,
It's
seriously.
difficult. It's a difficult platform, but you know what? I want to give back, and I want people out there to know, hey, this is a safe community. This is a safe place for you guys to come.
Mhm.
It's all spirit led. I'll hone in on who I'm with, and I'll actually give you a call. You
Mhm.
send me your number, I'll give you a call, and we'll actually do a live phone reading right with live.
Tell everybody again where they can find this live on Wednesday nights.
So it's on my Facebook. It's Teresa Rose, Firehouse Medium. It's on my Facebook page. And just be careful, because there's a lot of fake profiles out there. So if you have any doubt or any question, if you just go to my website, firehousemedium.com, and click on the Facebook icon there, that'll go right directly to my personal, not my personal, but my business page, Facebook page.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yay.
This has been so much fun and enlightening and heart opening. And I mean, I got emotional there a couple of times. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. No, and thank you, Jeff. Again, like I said, it's an honor and it's a blessing, and it's humbling. So thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you again for listening to the Something Super Spiritual podcast. If you know someone who would enjoy this episode, please do share it with a friend. For show notes, links, and to purchase a mediumship reading, my website is somethingsuperspiritual.com. You can also easily subscribe and follow the show on your favorite app, sign up for my newsletter for bonus content, and to keep the conversation going, you can easily join the Facebook community. It's all right there at the website, somethingsuperspiritual.com. Signing off for now, namaste.